So, welcome to the workshop. And my name is Dave Holland. I think most people know me, I think, anyway. Dave Holland. So, we're based out of Luxembourg. We live in France, and we have office in the UK as well, working with clients, people all over the world. Been doing this for 20 odd years now. And one of the key things that is appearing to me in the work that I do is in terms of building brand and reputation and marketing and pipeline and sort of visibility in the market. The best way of doing it is becoming storytelling. What does that mean? How do we do it? So I thought I'd put this discussion together. It's something that we use a lot. I encourage the people that we work with to do the same thing. And I'm going to run you through some of the principles and the ideas, why it's so important, and some of the techniques and tactics you can use to build your own sort of storyboard as well. So, first of all, the key rule is that people trust people. And we're going to touch on this a little bit later on. But in the world of AI, I mean, who here is using Chat GPT? Just put your hand up or something. Give me a yeah. Okay. So, Chat GPT is fabulous. AI is here. It's coming. It's growing. It's doing an amazing job for research or images and video and content. The challenge with AI, I think, is especially when we're in the personal service business, if you like, or professional services business, people don't trust it. They don't know if it's real or not. And what people are increasingly looking for is a genuine, the authentic person. Who am I actually dealing with? Who am I trading with? Who am I trusting? If you're in the martial arts world, who am I trusting with my child or myself? If you're in the business development world or professional services world, like Arnaud in the accounting world or Stefan in the relocations world, we're still involved with people, and people trust other people. If you're in a corporate, if you're in a large company, large organization, they use celebrities. So here's a selection here. So if you know Diet Coke, Taylor Swift. Well, I'm not sure Taylor Swift actually drinks Diet Coke. I've no idea, but they put her face next to it, and people go, "Oh, it must be a good thing because Taylor Swift drinks it, therefore it's okay for me to drink it." And so it's by association we have this sort of third-party trust with people we like in the public domain. So celebrity is a great way of getting visibility. Now, we can't afford, I don't think, I don't think there's anybody on here can afford Taylor Swift to come along and say, I trust Lux Relo with all my relocations business. One, it wouldn't make sense, but second, it's going to cost about 20 million. So it's likely that most of us are now, I know, can afford that. He's an accountant in Luxembourg, so I know he can afford that. But we can't afford that. Other companies do the same sort of thing. So we've got here, I mean, Martha Stewart, who's a convicted felon over in the US, with Snoop Dogg doing, marketing a lighter, and you can sort of see what the message they're getting at there. It's great for candles and more. I don't know what Snoop Dogg and Martha Stewart have got to do with big lighters, but this by association. Snoop Dogg, if you remember, was the sort of the figurehead of the Paris Olympics as well. He kept on popping up, and he was paid millions to be to be a sponsor of it with his image and his personality of the Paris Olympics. He was all over the place. Another one, I mean, you can smell like the Pirates of the Caribbean if you want to. Interesting, you look at the product is small on the imagery. Small product, big person. So what they're saying is, here's the person first. They stand in front of the product. We know and trust and like the person. The product is secondary. And that's a real interesting point from a marketing visibility point of view. A couple more. Ozzy Osbourne. I can't believe it's not butter. I have no idea. I can't imagine the marketing meeting that was said, well, I know, we've got an idea. Let's get Ozzy to market. I can't believe it's not butter. I've no idea what he knows about it, if he uses it or otherwise. But if that convinces you to buy, I can't believe it's not butter, then great, it must work. They paid him a lot of money for it. Ronaldo, KFC, and of all the athletes in the world, I think I'm right in saying I think Ronaldo is. I think he's 38 years old now, so he's about the same age as me. But he's still playing at the highest level, international football, one of the fittest guys out there. Lynn is in his fan club, as you can probably imagine. Top level athlete, top performer, slightly old for a footballer now. I'm pretty sure he doesn't tuck into a bucket of KFC before he goes onto the pitch. But because he's there, we all go, oh, that looks great. If good enough for Ronaldo, we'll go and get a takeaway over the weekend. So it's not even true, it's not aligned. But because his face is there, we trust him, therefore we trust the brand. And I think the final one, I know we've got another one here. We've got here Lancome, the scent of by, you can see small product, big brand, big picture, people first, person first, product in the sort of is a sideshow in the background. But this what this brings forward is that people, when they're looking to buy a service or a product, they need to trust it, and they can't trust AI because we don't know if AI is true. Therefore, we trust the people that are associated with it. And this is the lesson, I think, increasingly for us in the SME sector, that we tend to hide behind our businesses or our brands and our logos, and we shouldn't. We can't afford the celebrity style, but we can do something equivalent. I'll run through how that looks in a second or two. And the final one, this made me smile. I didn't know this was true or not. I think it is true, but it's Donald Trump. We've got the fight, fight, fight cologne and perfume. I'm not sure if I went out and got a bottle of women's perfume for Lynn that said fight, fight, fight on it, how she'd feel about it. I'm not sure. But anyway, so you can get Donald Trump cologne, and he's there with his fist in the air. But I'm going to say nice things. He's the president of the USA in a month's time, so you never know. But the message here is people trust people first. They don't care what you do or how you do it. That's secondary. They trust you, your background, your story, your perception, your values, your imagery. That's what people really trust. So that's the first thing. The big guys do it, and we've got to do the same thing in a different sort of style. The second thing that people trust is they trust characters. Personality, but characters. Now, you may say that you don't want to be the face of your company, the face of your business, but something has to be. So, for example, this one is a sort of world famous, I guess, Dulux paint. You've got the Dulux dog. Now, I have no idea who the manager or CEO is. I don't know what her name is, or who the senior manager is. I've no idea. But we associate Dulux paint with a character of a dog. And just put your hand up. Who's got a dog? Anyone got a dog? We're the dog people. Lisa, yeah, okay. Dog people. I'm a dog person, as I'll explain later on. You put an advert with a picture of a dog on it, and you've got me. Pretty much, I'm there, I'm interested. For some people, it might be a cat, whatever, it doesn't matter. But dogs. Now, you can use dog as a character in your business, providing it's associated with your brand, for example. But it has the same sort of effect, same sort of effect. And this could be football teams do this with mascots, for example. You can have a company mascot that is the face of and the personality of the business and the brand. I think it's better if we do it ourselves, and I'll show how that can work in a second or two. But yeah, you've got SO, people of a certain age on here. I'm looking at Mark Jeffrey here because I think we're aligned. But Tiger in the Tank of SO, there's a tiger. Would be shown on the advertising. MGM, we've got the lion roaring, we're associated with the brand. We've got in the UK, we have this, the meerkats. Compare the market or compare the meerkat, where it's an insurance comparison site. They've built a fabulous advertising campaign with a group of Russian meerkats. I've no idea who the manager is or the CEO is. I've no clue. But we get attracted to comparethemarket.com because we see these cool characters not talking about insurance, not particularly. They're talking about how they sort of fall out with each other and their lifestyles and things like that. And we all fall for it. We buy into it and we follow the meerkats. Therefore, more likely to go on to compare the market or compare the meerkat, as they call it.com. So they've got a personality, a character that people can trust. Frosties, you've got Tony the Tiger. I think it was Tony the Tiger anyway. Who remembers this one? This is the Phil Collins drum solo with the gorilla, and I think it was obviously somebody in a gorilla suit. Who remembers that? Just give me yeah, okay. Who remembers what it was advertising? Just who remembers what it was advertising? Yeah, Richard, what was advertising? Just gone.
Cadbury's chocolate.
Cadbury's chocolate, brilliant. Now you can sort of get an idea. Thank you. You get an idea for that from the purple and gold in the background. Everybody knows this little sort of drum solo. They remember that more than the product. There's no product on there. There's no Cadbury's, no chocolate, not mentioned in the advert. This was in. You might remember this was in the Hangover when we had Tyson in his apartment. He loved this part of the music, for example, on one of the Genesis Phil Collins songs. But it's really iconic. We've got if it was a person doing that, it wouldn't have the same effect. We trust the character, so we can have a gorilla doing a drum solo if you really want to. Andrex, the puppies, the Andrex puppies. Interesting on this one, it says we've got 45 roles. Puppy is on a roll. I'm not sure that's quite the language we want to use for that, for what we're going to do with it. But it's association with characters, warm and cuddly, nothing to do with the brand, nothing to do with the product particularly, but it's characterization. And one of the most famous ones, of course, is HMV, his master's voice, still going now. The picture of the dog looking into the horn on the record player. So we've got two things that people respond really well to. One is personality. The other one is characterization, imagery. That's what the thing that people are attracted to. And that's why when we do a post or some advertising, let's say, for example, you're on Facebook and you use your Facebook page, your company Facebook page, and you have an opportunity for people to come and join you at an event or a workshop or a seminar or whatever it is, and you post it on the business page. Well, it doesn't have a characterization. It doesn't have a personality. It doesn't have a face. It doesn't have a dog. It doesn't have anything. It's got nothing. That's why the hit rate is so low. And on top of that, we've got it compounded now with AI. I can produce an image like that on AI that I did for one of the guys in Luxembourg runs an IT recruitment business. You're going to use this image in his advertising. That's a picture generated by AI. It's not real. It's not true. Now we look at that and we know it's not real. I mean, I've never met anybody that looks like that. I don't know. Maybe in the past. I'm not sure. But that's clearly not true. It's not authentic. Now, from a marketing point of view, if I'm uncertain about something, if I'm not quite sure where there's a gap in my certainty, it equals mistrust. It equals I'm going to think about it. It equals I'm not going to jump now. I'm going to do some more research. So AI is out there, and we should all be using AI absolutely for research and content and structure, but not when it comes down to the authentic individual, the person behind the brand. In the SME sector, I think probably for all of us, we are the personality of the brand. I am the personality, rightly or wrongly, of my company. I mentioned Lynn, as you know, Lynn, my wife, my boss, we run the company together. I talk about Lynn. I refer to Lynn as the blonde one, as you know, because she is the blonde one. And we're a pair. We run the business as a pair. There are people on here that I know run their companies as a pair or with a fabulous team. Stefan Sandrine in Luxembourg, for example, operate as a fabulous pair. So we can generate authenticity not by using other people's pictures and images and dogs and cats, but it's got to be us. I think it has to be us because we are our brand. We are what represents the company and we're what people trust. And the more crazy we go with AI, it's clear these are interesting images, but they're not true. They're not real. They don't exist. And I'm not going to trust my money, my results, my children, my accounts, my relocation, my martial arts learning, or my coaching and business development. I'm not going to trust it to some faceless image that I don't know is true or not, or real or not. And it's so clever now, you can put a video together of a person, any person you like, speaking with Donald Trump's voice, selling any product you like. People know it's not true, and I don't believe that's going to be sustainable. I don't think people are going to buy that, not for the level we're talking about anyway. So AI is here. The last one, this picture here was created by AI and actually won a competition for fine art. And it really irritated all the other, the proper artists. But AI is here. So is it useful? Absolutely, it's useful. Is it a toolkit we can use? Yeah, I think it is. Absolutely, it's a toolkit we can use. Should we hide behind it? No, I'm certain, I'm clear that we've got to stand in front of our business with our authentic selves, and how we generate that authenticity is by revealing ourselves to the market through stories, through our engagement. So, how do stories look? What sort of stories should you use? Well, it's got to be personal, professional, but to do with your lifestyle, your background, your knowledge, your journey, your everything about you. This is how it shows up. Leadership, if you're a manager in a business, people will follow you if you're more visible. They trust you for your story and background. Nearly 60% of adults are more likely to purchase from a brand they trust. If you walk into a supermarket, and I've done this, anybody who's moved or relocated all over the world, if you get a shopping list and you want to buy some cereal for breakfast and a tin of baked beans, anywhere in the world you go, What brand of cereal are you going to get? Well, you're going to go for Kellogg's Cornflakes or Rice Krispies because you know them, and a tin of baked beans. You're going to go for Heinz because you know it and you trust it. If you travel a lot, and a lot of people on here do travel a lot, if you're in doubt about what food to go for, you go to McDonald's. Not because it's amazing, but because you know what you're going to get. You trust it. You're not going to get food poisoning from McDonald's, which you may get from some other place. So if in doubt, you go to McDonald's. Forbes did a survey that 77% of consumers are more likely to buy from a company when its CEO uses social media, and 82% trust companies more when the senior executives are active online and visible. Now, if you think about this, I mean, if you look at what happened over in the US, tragically, visibility can work two ways, but if you're visible and you're seen, you stand in front of your brand, in front of your company. Nobody else is doing it. People buy from people, they don't buy from companies. And in the SME sector, it's even more critical than it is before. So that's the sort of research behind it, if you like. What sort of stories should you tell? I'm going to give you a little flavour for things that I get up to, and you can use your own storyboards, of course. There's three types, I think. There's personal, factual, and then there's metaphor stories you can use. That the rule that I use when we look at the way where to post these things, I will do maybe 10 posts with general knowledge, information, stuff we're up to type things. One in 10, or one in 11, if you like, will be a marketing piece. Join a workshop, join a mastermind group, come to an event. We have a coaching program available. So I use about 10 to 1 as a ratio, 10 lots of general information stuff, pictures, images, and the things I'll go through in a second. And then 1 in 10 is a marketing piece with my face on it, with my storyboard, with come and talk to us, come and have a meeting. And that works. So that's how we get clients all over the world. We have clients in Serbia. I've got a keynote speech I'm doing up in Stockport on the 10th of Jan. That was all booked in the last 48 hours. Only because people saw what we're up to on social media. They like the videos, like the content. They reach out. And it's interesting. When I spoke to the guy in Stockport, a lovely guy, CEO of a big company or their manufacturing business. He said, after we'd had our discussion, 20 minutes on a call, and he booked me straight away. He said, "You know what?" He said, I've seen your videos, I've seen your content. He said, "You're the same as I expected. There's no difference. You're the same as I thought I was going to get." And that is really important, this consistency and congruency. If you're putting something on social media about you, your personality, your values, your integrity, your business, whatever it is, when people reach out to you and have a conversation, you've got to match it. You've got to be congruent. There's got to be that authenticity and congruency there. And I was quite sort of, it was a good thing for me, I think. And he said, what I've learned about your online stuff, it's all showing up and true. You are what you say you are, which I thought was really interesting. So personal stories. Now, I have a filter through which I put any content I put up online. So, for example, you will not see me in a bar drinking alcohol. Now, I'll have a drink. I'm gonna have a glass of wine. Live in France, for goodness sake. It's compulsory. But you're not going to see me in a pub, in a bar, necking a pint of beer or necking a bottle of wine. It just doesn't sit well with me. I don't think it's appropriate for the work that we do. So you're not going to see me do that. I don't talk about religion. I don't talk about politics or gender. I don't get involved particularly with what's happening in Israel or in Ukraine or anything like that. I avoid that, not because I don't have a view on it, but because I know what happens on social media. If I say something about XYZ is doing a great job here, and it'll trigger 50% of people or 80% of other people, and I'm not interested in it. I don't have any fights on social media, so I stick to, I stay in lane. I'll talk about the cottage. Those people who know, we bought a cottage during lockdown to renovate. It was a wreck when we bought it, and we've renovated it. Now I'll do stories about that, about how the roof had collapsed and there's a tree growing out of it, and how bad it looked when we bought it, and we had to do all the facade. And I'll tell stories about that. Just a quick update. We're doing this. Built a new kitchen. We've got the new cottage. We've got the barn being done. We've got things going on. Now, why would I talk about that? Well, because people need to know that I'm actually, they live in France, they live in the dream lifestyle, which is what I encourage a lot of people to do. We run our business 3 days a week, living in a fabulous part of the world, working with people we like and respect and trust. That in itself is an interesting storyboard. So what I found is that when I talk about how we live in the middle of nowhere in France, which is fabulous, people come to us and say, "Have you done that? How did you go from being an operations manager of a wood mill in Bristol, 25 years ago, to living in France and doing what you do. They're intrigued by the journey. So the journey can be really interesting for people as well. So I'll talk about the cottage. I'll talk about my history, my background. This is a picture of my grandfather. In the shop. He's the big fella in front. Sorry, that's my great grandfather. Grandfather's over his shoulder here. This is taken about 1908, 1910, we think, just before the First World War. And I'll talk about that. We had family shops all over the West Midlands in the UK. And I started off as a 5 and 6 year old working in the shops over the weekends and boiling beetroot and all this sort of thing. Now, why would I tell that? Because I think it's my background, it's my heritage. I'm from the small family firm entity, if you like. It's my background, it's what I enjoy, what I've built up all my life. I know all about these sort of things. I know what it's like to run your own company. So I tell stories about my history. Maybe it's to do with my training, my apprenticeship. But I'll be really open with people. I'll tell them the good, the bad, and the ugly about my background. I've been fired once for not signing a set of accounts. It was horrible. I thought we were going to lose the house and everything. It was horrible. But I refused to sign a set of fraudulent accounts, and the guy said, "If you don't sign them, I'm going to fire you." So I didn't sign them and he fired me. So there you go. That serves you right. End of the world. It's not the end of the world. It's okay. I was picked out on an ID parade on the police. I was drawn into a police ID parade at random, I have to say. Picked out as a murderer in Enfield in North London. I was only 17. Frightened me to death. They threw me in a cell and took my bootlaces off me and told me to think about what I'd done. They thought that was hilarious. Wasn't so funny as a 17-year-old, I can tell you. Anyway, but tell stories about your background, your journey. You share what you're okay to share about your relationships and what's your take on things. And of course, dog pictures. This is Lucy, the beagle, and she's had a big operation this week. She had to have a big piece of her nose removed. She's had the cone on her head and been clanking into things. I'll tell stories about the dog, and about for a walk in the French hills with Lucy or whatever it is. And people think that's a bit, well, why would you bother doing that? Well, because I want people to understand where we came from, how we think, how we live, and how we work. And what it does, people who resonate with that go, this might be worth a conversation. I like this guy, or I like as a pair, they're working as a pair. We tend to attract a lot of people who work as couples as well, out of interest, because we work as a pair as well. So put those stories out there, be okay with it. Don't worry, you're not going to get any bad feedback. And if you do, just block them anyway. It's absolutely fine. It's okay. Don't put on there, you don't have to put on there all your personal bank details and blood type and that type of thing, but just tell your story, reveal yourself to the market so they can make a bit of not a judgment, but they can say, do I resonate with this person? Does it make sense? Is it somebody I'd like to, work alongside or be associated with? So personal stories are good. Then there's factual. Key fact. Now, I choose facts that are associated with what I do, that are interesting to business people, entrepreneurs, managers in business. That's my level, if you like. I look at so things you can do. You use Chat GPT for this. If you say to Chat GPT, so I want you to be your I'll pick on martial arts, okay? You run a martial arts business in the West Midlands in the UK. Give me 20 facts that will be interesting and compelling to my readership on Facebook and on Instagram and on TikTok. And it'll tell you these are interesting facts about martial arts that you didn't know. Huh, there's your marketing done. Now you don't just produce the words, you put it up there as if you've learned that fact. But interesting facts about martial arts. Where did the belt system come from? Who invented the belt system in martial arts, for example? Well, you can Google it. There's all loads and loads of interesting stories and facts around any business, whether it's accounting, relocation, or training and coaching. Find facts that people go, huh, that's interesting. Don't just regurgitate the stuff that you find everywhere. Do something a bit more innovative with it. So here's a couple of ideas that I use. So this word, for example, hippopotamonstrosquippedalophobia is the word, I think. Any idea what that means? Anybody any a clue what that means? It's nothing to do with hippos, just so you know. It is the phobia. It's a phobia. It's a fear, believe it or not. The fear of long words, which sort of demonstrates the point, I think. Then I'll do facts about business, facts about sales, facts about mindset. There's a guy in Luxembourg, and you're welcome to have a look at him on LinkedIn, called Denton Lilly. Fabulous guy. He's in the real estate world, and he wasn't struggling. He wanted to find a way of pushing through the market. It's a hugely saturated market of real estate people in Luxembourg. How can he differentiate himself in terms of what he does and make a big name for himself? And we did some work with Denton, and and this was his choice, not mine. But what he said was, we're going to do this factual marketing. So what he does, every time the interest rates are up for review by the European Central Bank, he does a poll, and he says, will the interest rates stay the same, go up, or go down? And people vote on it. And then what he does a video, and you can find him on his LinkedIn page, Denton Lilly, fabulous guy. And he does a video, and what he does, he gets all the people who voted the correct answer. He puts little slips of paper in a bowl. He has his dog sat next to him, and he does a draw. He draws out a name, and he says, Bill Smith has won this month's competition. And then him and Bill Smith, he treats him to lunch. He takes him out to lunch in Luxembourg, builds his network, does a video, gets his dog involved, talks about facts. People are interested in it, has a big following, and it's compelling content. So it doesn't matter what business you're in. It's really to do with Oh, Stefan, thank you. Bless you. Yeah, Stefan's my AI helper here. So Stefan's just put in Denton Lilly into the chat. So please, yeah. Yeah, oh, Lily Lynn's fan club. Thank you, Wayne. Just seen that. So yeah, have a look in the chat there. That's his profile. Have a look. So facts, but facts with a twist. Do it with a bit of inspiration. I see so many people putting things out on Facebook and LinkedIn, and it would be sort of I'm thrilled to go to the networking group where they're talking about tax implications for aluminium smelters in 2025. Nobody's interested in those sort of facts. What they're interested in is something that is interesting and compelling to them, a bit quirky, they don't know about it, with a video and a dog. So Denton's ticked facts. He's got the dog involved. It's good fun. He's got a video involved. He's a great guy. He does lunch. He builds his network. And what you can see on LinkedIn, by the way, is he's very successful at what he does in the real estate world because he's getting lots of inquiries. He's highly visible. He's selling lots of houses because he's very, very good at it. And he's building his business through this visibility. But nobody cares. I think nobody cares what company he works for. They deal with Denton. Now, he does work for a great company, but nobody's interested in that. They're interested in him. They're interested in you. They're interested in me. Nobody's ever heard of Results Rules OK. That's my company. Nobody's ever heard of it. Nobody cares about that. What they're interested in is, well, who's the person behind it? Who's running this thing? Who's this Dave Holland geezer? What's he up to? What's he like? It's the same for you in martial arts, accounting, relocation, anything. The same thing applies. And finally, interesting facts nobody's ever heard of. So here's just a very quick one. For example, I tell this story. It's called the cargo cult. And this is where, over in the Pacific Islands, when the Americans went through in World War II, putting airstrips onto all the islands as they were advancing over towards Japan, the locals or the natives saw them build these airfields and planes land delivering cargo and goods and services and everything like that. And so when the Americans left, the natives thought, well, this is going to be great. We can do the same thing. So they built aircraft and conning towers and radio sets and guns and flags out of bamboo and trees. And they sort of worshipped the aircraft because these are the big silver birds that brought the cargo to their islands. And it doesn't quite work that way, but it's called the cargo cult. So there's loads of interesting facts out there that just might feel, oh, that's interesting. That's worth a look, worth a read. Haven't heard that before. It's worth a click. I'll just join that. I'll follow that person and maybe I'll reach out and have a conversation. The third sort of message I would recommend is what I call metaphor. This is where you're telling a story with a point to it. So you've got a message you want to get across, and you want to make a point about it. So this is one I use, and I'm starting a conference or a workshop. But the point I want to make, for example, is that a lot of people don't go into entrepreneurship or don't do anything creative or take a risk because they're scared of failure. They can't see what the outcomes are going to look like. It might go wrong. It's scary. It's uncertain. Therefore, they don't do it. And this can work with relationships or careers or anything you like. So the story I would tell, if I just said at a conference, if you're uncertain about the future, it's scary. Therefore, you assume the worst. You're not going to make the choice. That's pretty flat and pretty bland. The story I would tell, and it's a true story, is I mean, to imagine we're walking through the savannah in South Africa on a safari. It's twilight. There's a guide at the front with a gun. There's a guide at the back with a gun. There's about 10 of us. And we're walking through the twilight of the safari park. And in the grass, There's some rustling in the savannah grass about 20, 30 meters away. Something's moving in the grass. The guide at the front puts his hand up and gets us to sort of crouch down. So we're sort of we're keeping out of the way. Now, if you're in that situation, what's going through your mind? What do you think is in the grass? And automatically, and I'm not going to ask you guys, I ask the audience, and they say, well, it could be a lion, it could be a hippo, it could be a rhino, it could be a whatever, it could be something that's going to kill you. It's always something that's going to kill you because where there's uncertainty, we assume the worst. And so I used that story. And it wasn't a lion; it was actually a deer, a little baby deer that would hopping around somewhere. So anyway, so where there's uncertainty, we assume the worst. It's always the tiger and the lion in the grass, and that's the story I would use to bring that sort of storyboard to life, if you like. So use metaphors to bring it to life. Now, don't go too far with this. I see people who, they go on a bus ride and they say, oh, I was on the bus this morning and this, and this, and here's what I learned about life and business as a consequence. That's a little bit extreme, but use metaphors, bring stories to life with examples or metaphors and storyboards that people go, oh, yeah, I get it, I understand that. People remember the story, not just the image that you give them as well. So personal stories, yes. Factual stories, yes, but be creative with it, and metaphor stories. Those are the three that work, and then pepper them with offers and business offers as you go along. But do it from your personal page. Company page doesn't cut it. It's got to be a personal page. Your name, your picture, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it is, needs to be personalized. So, where should you publish these things, these storyboards? Social media, obviously, pick any platform. Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Choose your profiles. In terms of volume, I do about one or two posts a day. So I'm because I'm sat in my office. I'm sort of here. I do my calls. In between calls, I can do a quick post or a video or something like that. And then what happens, by the way, also follow it. Stefan, put your link into the chat if you will, because I did a video about Lucy having more resilience than people because she had a bucket on her head. And Stefan, bless him, came back with a video with him with a bucket on his head talking about he had resilience as well. So that's fabulous. So thank you for that. But yeah, follow Stefan Compound from Luxville, just fabulous work online. So maybe do 3 or 4 posts a week. Do video. Do a video. I can't tell you how transformational it is. Do a video, 90 seconds long, about anything you like, not about the business, just here's an idea, here's a thought, here's an interesting fact. Put it up onto Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and just let it run. People will watch what you're doing. They'll see you. They may not respond immediately, but they will see what you're doing. Do it consistently. But yeah, do video, do content, do posts. Pictures work as well. Take a photograph, put it up onto social media. I do a picture of Lynn, for example, gets much more traffic than I get. I know why, because she's better looking than me. But do a picture of the dog, do a picture of you, or put a picture, anything you like. It's social media. It's not work media. It's social media. Just relax and have a bit of fun with it. Build your own brand. Use your own filters, but be consistent with what you're doing. Write a book. Have a look. Write a book. We've done 45 books published so far. Some are ebooks, some are hard copy books. There's one here, just to prove it to you. It is a work of genius, and wrote it a few years ago. And then people can look at. I can send a book to somebody. Then they get my story. Then the front chapter is a bit about our background, what we do, and how we do it. How long does it take to write a book? Not long at all. Use ChatGPT to help you write a book. Self-publish it. I can buy these books, and they're proper books, ISBN numbers, barcodes, the whole thing. We can publish them one at a time, publish on demand. This will cost me about £5, £5, €6 to get a book, plus postage. I can sell these for €20, whatever it is, that's okay. If I do a conference, they might buy 100 for every conference participant. Or for €5, I can just send this to somebody in the mail and say, saw this, thought of you. And they go, wow, I've got a book from this guy. Being an author, sets you apart in your industry, whether you're an accountant, whether you're a martial artist, if you've got a book. I know people they laugh about it, but it does set you apart. I've had more speaking gigs because of the book. One of the clients in Luxembourg is a big financial institution, very traditional. They saw the book and they said, "Can we come and do a presentation to our group? And we're going to buy." I think it was 75 of your books to give to them. And we're going to pay you for the event. And we're going to do some more blah, blah, blah. that was a ticket to ride. Because I got the book and they looked at it and they could give it to their participants, we got the gig. Same for you, write the book. Another guy for you to follow. I'm going to ask for Stefan's help here as well. He's put his own link into the chat. Is Dirk Sanden, also in Luxembourg. Dirk is a fabulous guy. He's in sales for a big financial services company. He's the number one sales guy in the company, and he's written a book about his mindset, his attitude, his attitudes towards sales and relationships and personal and business growth. He's written a book, and you can buy it, you can download it. If do you think you could learn something from a guy in sales selling financial services into Germany? He's a German accountant and he's a top sales guy in this company. He's written a book and he's been with us for a number of years. Fabulous guy, Dirk Sanden, and the book is called Your Lighthouse Journey. Download the book and have a look at it. It's fabulous. He gets speaking gigs as well now because he's put his story out there. He's revealed himself. He's great at sales of what he does, and he puts lots of storyboards up onto social media. So have a look at Dirk Sanden as well. And finally, get on stage. Go and talk. Talk anywhere. Talk to your team. Talk at a networking event. Talk at a conference. Get a keynote. Do whatever it is. Get up on stage and just talk. Do a 5 minute talk, a 10 minute talk, a half an hour talk. They used to terrify me. I would be terrified of speaking on stage, but I've got used to it now. I'm an introvert, so I still find it slightly odd, but I actually enjoy it. I've done talks with, I think we did a count up in 34 countries. I've been on stage, 34 countries with all sorts of organizations. I've done presentations in canteens and shipping containers, auditoriums to 1,000 people, and offices with half a dozen people in them. Doesn't matter, but get good at talking and presenting and telling your story and your business. That will set you apart and get you more inquiries and more bookings. Okay, so questions. What I'm going to do, I'm going to stop sharing the screen so we can just see everybody on the screen here. And we've got plenty of time. So let me just stop sharing. And anybody who's got any questions, I can see, well, what a good looking bunch. I couldn't see you before, but fabulous. So questions, Richard, please. Yeah, Richard Canton.
Um, so just to confirm, so I've got all the five guys here that from the team. So we have a business page for each of the five locations.
Yeah,
Should then, for example, what I've been doing lately is I'm putting stuff up on my own personal page and then sharing that to the business page.
yeah.
So the business page then actually gets to see what you're doing also.
Absolutely. Yeah, bit
Okay.
personal first and then share to business, not the other way around. Don't
Yeah.
do business post then share it to personal because it's not personal. So this works on Facebook and LinkedIn and all this sort of thing. We have business pages. I do a personal post. Here's a picture of Lucy the Beagle, whatever it is, and then we share that to the business page. The personal page gets so much more visibility, though, so much more visibility and traction because people aren't really interested in the business; they're interested in the person. But you can definitely share them across. But yeah, make it the sort of storyboard.
And then I suppose then if if there is that quandary of like, yeah, I'm not usually don't usually use social media because I've got a couple of guys who don't use social media at all,
Yeah.
but yet they manage their social media page. Is it time to, oh well, that's just part of the job. This is something that you've got to do now is start using that, or do they, what would be the sort of the ruling on that sort of thing,
I think I get it why people don't want to be revealed on social media. I get it. I absolutely understand it. I don't want to be revealed on social media particularly, but I think it's just one of those things that if you really want to stand out from the crowd, make a difference, get seen, be visible, build rapport with the audience and the market, the only way we can do it, because we can't hire celebrities, we haven't got the meerkats, we've only got ourselves. And I think I'm not say got to, it's much better if we can have ourselves represented on social media with our story, our background, our take on it, our voice, our values, and our standards, that sort of thing. So I'm not sure, I don't think we can force people to do it or anything like that. I think we can encourage. and I just think you get a much better result. And you don't. I mean, the stuff that I do, I'm no Brad Pitt or anything like that. So it doesn't matter how ugly you are, whatever you look like, what your voice is like. The more so unique you are, if you like, the better. Because the AI version of me is pretty perfect. Nobody's interested in that. They want the crinkly one, the grey-haired one, the one that coughs and splutters and that sort of thing. Genuine people get a much better result. So if people feel comfortable to put some personal content up, and it may be they don't want to put their pictures of their wife, partner, husband, dog, cat, goldfish up there, just something about here's me in the academy, here's me doing whatever it is, or here's my take on things, or here's me a picture of a scene or something. Here's me going to the supermarket or something like that. Just things that bring the personality to life. And I think I'd hesitate to force, but certainly encourage.
And I think as well with the Facebook settings, you can put like a public post.
Yes, yeah, yeah,
And if it is you, something like you, your wife, and your two kids, and you don't really want the world to see that, but you want your friends to see that, you could change the setting for that particular post. So it's not like, well, I have
absolutely.
to now share everything. So it's like keeping that privateness private,
Yeah,
but also knowing that you need to expose yourself by going public on certain posts or on the posts that picking
yeah.
what you do there. Would that be right?
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't put pictures up of my grandchildren, for example, hardly ever, because I don't. Well, we all know why I don't put pictures of kids up online, that sort of thing. So I wouldn't do that. I don't put pictures of when we're eating food or stuff like that. Why would you do that? So they've got to have sort of standards and filter there. The filter I use is, well, is what I'm publishing going to be of interest to people I want to work with? Is it going to be useful, interesting, informative? Are they going to like it? Is it going to sort of trigger a bit of a response? And if it does that, then I'm good. But yeah, have a filter for everything,
Yeah.
but have some fun with it as well. I know you see some horror stories of people in negative comments, and I've a client in Germany, and one of her fears is that she's going to get judged when she puts content up online or a video. And she's in the matchmaking world. She runs a matchmaking dating agency, and she's brilliant. She's great on camera, got a fabulous story, very engaging, and yet she feels nervous about putting a story out there. And that's what stops most of us doing it. But you're going to be okay. There's not much you can do. If you don't like something that somebody says, block, delete, report. But you're in control. You're okay. So start off gently. But again, I would never put a post up about I'm a big lad. I'm not going to talk about fitness and well-being. I'm going to talk about ballet dancing, and I don't not my. I'm going to stay, and I'm going to get feedback for that if I do that. I talk about things I feel safe and comfortable with, and maybe so should you. I think as well. Same thing. Excellent, great question. Thank you. Anybody else? Any thoughts, questions? Richard, yeah.
I'll go again if
No,
yeah,
great. No, absolutely.
by
So,
myself if no one else wants to. So, for example, you know my business very, very well. We've worked together for many, many years. So,
yeah,
as you know, head of the association, head of the company,
yeah.
and then we have the five department heads that run their own page. Would it be advisable for us to have one face? For example, it's just me that's on all five pages, or would you suggest it's me plus the department heads slash managers who run their particular area? So they've got that they're getting to know the face behind the company, but they're also getting to know the face behind who runs their community.
I think we spent quite a bit of time in the franchising world, and we had this sort of question: who's the figurehead of the franchise? Is it the franchise owner? And in our case, it was with the Action Coach franchise. Is it Brad Sugars, who's fabulous guy, high profile, but what the best response people get is local visibility. So really, I think, yeah, obviously you can be there as the figurehead, the leader of the troop, if you like, but it's local representation. Because if you do and I've done this. If I do a video of me walking through Luxembourg, and I did a video of they have a tram, lots of trams in Luxembourg, and I'm working on a place called the Kirchberg in Luxembourg. Did a quick video. I'm going to a meeting. Quick video of the tram. Everybody in Luxembourg, they see that, they go, I know that tram. I know where he is. Nobody's talking about, and it got like 75,000 views. It was ridiculous. So local knowledge, local representation Much, I think, much better. You as well. You can be there as the, the overseer, if you like. But people are going to buy on a local basis from, I think, from local people who understand the area. They know the local people. They can be referred to them. So I think local representation is probably better.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
David.
Yeah. Wayne, hi.
Hey, going through these sort of videos, and is it better to be fairly diverse with your surroundings, or I don't know, be a bit more uniform? So every morning I take the dogs for a walk.
Yeah.
So could I sort of do like an interesting factual of Norwich or where I am or dogs, but do
Yeah.
that on a regular basis every morning and post it? Would
Absolutely.
that cause, or would that be best to be more diverse and do different areas, different things, or
I, the honest answer is I
you're
don't
always
know.
in the
My instinct would
office
say that
each time? So that's
yeah, no, I think you're okay. But I mean, the videos that I do, you look at the videos that I do, they're this. We've got the background, we've got the
mm,
lights, and that. I think 80% of my videos are me sat here talking to camera. What I have learned, if I do, as a tip, if I do 5 videos in a day, which I'll do, I just change my top for each one, so it looks like I did it on a different day or something. But anyway, so a different top, and maybe move a book on the shelf so it looks a bit different. But no, I think the background is fine, consistency is okay. I mean, I'll do a video when I'm out. So I do. We got some cycling, we go mountain biking through the hills, and I'll do a picture of me or a video of me talking about, I'm crossing the German border, which is a kilometre away or something. So I think you can mix it up. But no, I think you're absolutely fine. If it's you walking the dog and it's you on your camera, that people feel there's a repetition to it in terms of the style and delivery. No, that's absolutely fine. And the less edited it is, the better. If it's all polished with a brand and a logo, intro music, and everything, it's like AI's done it. People don't trust. They will trust more the individual person with a bit of wind noise in the background, or a couple of coughing and spluttering, or the dog barking, or whatever it is. It's more genuine. I think that's absolutely fine as well. But no, I don't. I think you're absolutely fine with that.
okay. It's just also it's another way of combining two things at once, really, as well. So
Yeah,
it's
and
nice.
just think of things
Mm,
you can, anything that comes to mind, because I think especially in the martial arts world, you can cover a huge range of subjects from the martial arts, but to discipline and fitness and confidence and well-being and all those sort of things, habits and rituals and personal development. There's a huge range of things that you can cover legitimately that fall within the martial arts remit. The fact that you're out and about getting some fresh air in the morning, there's one. That's a good thing. So you're just saying one of my rituals is this, this, and this is what I recommend. And I go, okay, great. And you're doing it regularly, therefore you're congruent with what you're teaching people. Therefore, yeah, life's good, I think.
cool. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Lisa, yeah.
Sorry. I've been looking at a lot of other companies and trying to get some ideas. And there's a lot of martial arts companies who will do technique demonstrations, and they're like, "Oh, do this and do that." And the social media, or maybe it's just that's what I view a lot, but it seems quite flooded with those sorts of things. So
Yeah.
is it a case of follow the crowd, or leave them to do that and make yourself stand out a bit more in a different
I
way?
I think that's a great question. I think I go where they don't go. Because if you look at marketing for most organizations, and there's a lot of marketing companies out there as well, nothing against them, but they do this template driven marketing with standard pictures or whatever it is, and they flood the market with it, and we get lost in that crowd. Now is it? I think that the technique videos, you can use the technique videos as part of what you do, maybe, but to stand out from the crowd a little bit, do something that they're not doing.
Mm.
And you see that there's people on TikTok or on YouTube, the YouTube Shorts, and they're doing some quite interesting things. They're taking a different take on it. There's a guy, I think his name's Matt, and if you've seen on TikTok, there's a guy in Leicester in the UK, and he buys old wrecked supercars and fixes them up. He repairs them with his dad. And he started off with like an MX-5. He's now working on a Mansouri Rolls Royce, I think it is, or something. So he's doing interesting things that nobody else is doing. So I think if you can do something slightly odd and out of the way, a bit unusual, I think is probably the key, because then you stand out from the crowd a little bit.
Yeah, because in my thought was that you want to keep it like we're a martial arts company, so everything we post should be martial arts. This is us doing martial arts. These are the classes doing martial arts. But what you're saying then is actually bring much more personality to it and teach some of the I suppose, the lessons that we teach through
Yeah,
our own experiences in that way. So it doesn't all just have to be classes and
absolutely.
keeping
Yeah,
that.
I mean, are you? So, forgive me. Are you a martial artist? You're an instructor within the academy, or?
Yeah, I'm the head for Ashford for Richard
Oh,
Canton.
right. Okay, great. Got it. So, for example, I think, as a martial artist, well, what drew you to martial arts? Why did you start martial arts? How did you get into it? What have you learned from it? What's it helped you to do in terms of all these sort of things? The journey of martial arts is really compelling, and people are very interested in that. And that because that's unique to you, and you can say how you found or discovered martial arts, what you do, and how you've done it. There you go. There's a story, but nobody else has got that because that's your story. It's like me and the shops back in the 100 years ago. Not that I was there, but personally, what is your story? How do you find martial arts? What effect does it have on some of the students? What's a parent said to you this week? Because I my belief around martial arts specifically is that you transform people's lives in a good way, and you undersell it as well. You give it away too cheap, but anyway, that's just me. So I think that the transformative work that you do. I'm not a martial artist, but it's much more than punching and kicking. It's transformational, it's confidence, it's life skills. I wish I'd have had martial arts in my life when I was a kid, when I was knocking about, sleeping on trains in London. I was fighting everybody, but didn't know what I was doing. So that would have been very helpful for me back in the day. But yeah, your story around martial arts, how you got there, what you do, what you've learned, that is unique to you. It still brings martial arts into it, but I think that'd be a great story to tell.
Thank you.
And sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah, go on.
I think that if you can get, a video testimonial from our clients, it's really
Absolutely. Yeah.
a great tool to put on social media.
Yeah.
So you just need to make sure that you have a signed paper that they authorize you to use it. It's what we are doing. So I'm in the relocation business. So at the end of a file or a permission, we ask the client if they are willing to give a video testimonial, and those are doing very well. And it proves, that clients are happy about our services. And in martial art, I'm pretty sure that people will be happy to give you a testimonial.
Absolutely.
And you can film them, in different places and, on the tatami and so on. And, it really shows that, apart from what you're saying online, you have clients that can confirm that you are doing a great job.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
Thank
it's,
you.
it's one of the, thanks, Stefan. Yeah, great point. And so obviously, join the Stefan as well. Put your link into the chat because in terms of branding and visibility, doing a great job, but it works as well. I think it's fair to say it works. But it is that sort of the risk, the risk to it that you are revealing yourself online. And I get it why people don't sort of feel comfortable with it. I'm okay with it. I'm big enough and ugly enough to, whatever. I don't get any negative feedback anyway. But I stay in my lane, if you like, in terms of, business development, personal development, my stories, my history, that type of thing. So just baby steps with, but yeah, but be okay with sending it out there. Oh, there's
And
Stefan's.
yeah, and you need to be, I mean, you also need to be aware that, most probably, I don't know how many millions of people are on social media. The fact that you're going to be seen by, I don't know, 100 people or 500 people or 1,000, well,
Mhm.
who cares? Some of our clients will be happy to see what you're publishing, and others, well, they won't even see it in their feed,
No.
possibly.
It flows. It
Yeah.
disappears immediately. That's where the consistency of approach is the key. I did a post about we were in the UK, staying in a hotel, and I put the post was just what I love about UK hotels, and it was basically the service sucks, it's cold, it's damp, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't a great thing. I didn't say what the hotel was. That post got 1.1 million views on Facebook, 75,000 on LinkedIn. It went viral. Off it went. And I got loads of comments back for it. Nothing negative. It would be, yeah, I've had the same experience. And what triggered it off was a simple thing. It resonated with probably some of the women watching the content rather than the guys. Was when we got there, the mirror on the wall was 1 meter further away than the cable on the hairdryer was from the socket. So Lynn could couldn't do a hair because the cable was too short. Didn't bother me. I didn't, but it's those sort of things that everybody, yeah, I see that, and they did this and they did that. Now I had no idea how that works, but it's a storyboard that we are traveling, or as a pair, we're in a hotel, we're doing a conference, and here's a bit of fun about the hotel. Anything like that, absolutely fine. It'd be amazed what gets people going. But that's gone now. It's evaporated. That was 2 weeks ago. It's gone. Next one, next one, next one. But yeah, the personal touch certainly works. Great stuff. Any other thoughts or questions? Who's going to do it? Who's going to do a video? Who's going to do a video and post it? Then we can all have a look at it. Stefan's the hero of videos. Done video. Anybody here feels nervous? I'm not going to pick on you, but anybody nervous about doing a video? Just doing a feels a bit. Yeah, Tim. Okay, no, I get it. I'm nervous as well. But just the ones I do here, I record mine on Zoom. So I record it on the camera on Zoom, and then I download it. You can do it on your smartphone as well. You'd be surprised. Just do one, and it'll be fine. It'll be okay. I know. I understand the nerves. I really do, but it'll set you apart. You've got to do a video of your Millennium Falcon, for example. That'd be great.
No,
Yeah.
I do get nervous with that situation, but I know it's something I've got to do. And
Yeah.
something,
Yeah.
I mean, I've just done something with Nest recently as well. So it's like I'm getting more and more used to it. We had a presentation even the other week as well
Great.
for belts, etc. after our recent gradings.
Yeah.
Those I normally get nervous for.
Yeah.
Teaching in front of a class there, teaching what I do, not an issue.
There you go.
But
Yeah.
this time, it's the first time I didn't really feel nervous. And
It's a
that's
strange one, isn't it?
20,
Nerves.
30 years of
Strange
doing
one.
it. I didn't actually feel nervous doing it this time.
And I
Whether
think,
it's
you
the
know,
fact that
I
so
think
much else
just
going on, I don't know.
there's no way around it. It's just a bit of practice. It's just have a go. There's no easy way to do it. Do one and publish and be damned almost, and you'll be fine. And when you get used to doing it, you'll get into a pattern. So yeah, Richard.
One thing on that, when I first moved over to the UK, we had to go to a lot of solicitors' meetings and school meetings and Kent County Council meetings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because we're bringing the karate school over to the UK, and I'm a builder. What do I know about going to talking to these lawyers and all that kind of stuff? And I was very nervous. And one of my instructors said to me, he said, what when don't you feel nervous? And like Tim said in a class, he said, wear your karate uniform to these meetings.
There
He
you
said,
go.
you said wear what you feel comfortable, because if in your karate uniform you're unstoppable, you're the man, you are the person. He said he put your shield on, put your
Yeah.
wear your karate. And in the end I started wearing my karate uniform to all these meetings,
Brilliant.
and because it gave me the confidence and the ability that I needed to walk into these places like, no, I am the man. This is
Lovely.
this is what I do and stuff like that. After a while, after probably a couple of years, I didn't need to do that because it was the practice and I built that confidence. So yeah, using that costume, that
Yeah.
uniform, whatever it might be, to get you through the nerves, whatever it might be at first, do whatever you can do, because it definitely, I can vouch, I did that.
Yeah.
And that's what sort of got me through the confidence of it all.
It's great tip. And you can use the outfit. Some people use a particular, wear a watch or some jewelry or a color jumper, whatever they feel comfortable in, like as you say, like a shield, and just have a go, see what happens. And yeah, you're all good looking people. I can see you on the screen. There's
I
best
mean,
looking bunch I've seen.
what I've
Fabulous.
been doing as well the past months on a regular basis when I'm going to walk the dog is just I film myself,
Yeah.
and I talk, and I do that, nearly every day. And so and then I'm just listening to my voice. I just look at the video, and by doing it every day, I see that I slowly I start to improve.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is just practice. And if you do a duff video, if you do a duff one, where it's not really, nobody cares. You're going to be fine. Not going to come. You're not going to get put on news at 10 or anything like that. It's just nobody cares. It evaporates. But sometimes the dodgy ones get more visibility anyway, just because it's genuine, real, and authentic. So yeah, you're fine. You're okay with it. So okay, so we're coming towards the end. Any final questions, or anybody happy? Good to go. So let me just, what I'm going to do then is I'm just going to pause recording